Good morning, stamping friends. Happy Friday to you all. How's everyone doing? I'm doing great. I'm having a good week here, and all of a sudden it's Friday again. I cannot believe how fast the days go. But I have something up my sleeve, and it kind of goes along with this class to go that I'm doing. Now remember, this class ends on February 22nd, and so you don't have many days left to sign up for this. So I'm going to show you another project, and I love coordinating my little extra projects with a class to go that I'm doing, just to give you some more inspiration of some more projects that you can make if you get my class to go and all the products that go with it. So let me turn my camera around and we will get started with today's project. Before we get started with today's project, I just wanted to remind you that my For the Record class to go is going on right now, and this is going to be such a fun class. Thank you, by the way, for those of you who already signed up for it. I appreciate that. And the deadline is going to be here soon. It is February 22nd is the last day to sign up. So I will put the link at the end of my video, and let me just kind of go over what's in the class. You will be receiving the stamp set For the Record. Isn't this adorable? Oh my gosh, it's kind of retro, and it brings me back to the old days and thinking about the albums I used to have. And this one just stood out to me in the mini catalog. It's been really fun to play with. And in this class, you're going to get these 5 make and takes. And I want to show you this one. I sometimes show a sneak preview of one of the projects, but it's a cute little record player. And once you open the lid of it, you'll see the record. And this is a treat box that's in our mini catalog. And you will get just a little box that slides out and can hold some chocolate or whatever your favorite treat is. And so let me share the other details with this class. So in this class, you will get that stamp set For the Record, and then you're also going to get New Horizons 6x6 Designer Series paper. Now this paper is so pretty because on one side, you're going to get these really pretty landscape scenes, which is really hard to see in this because I just had to cut little 2x2 inch squares. And then here's another palette of colors, and these are all the coordinating colors down the side. There's quite a few, and actually the 21 to 23 in colors are all included in this. Now, most of the cards that I've made using the New Horizons Designer Series paper have been more elegant looking and with the landscape themes, but on the back side of all of those, you'll find just some watercolor images, and they're kind of swirled together, and they're just really pretty, and they always pull in a color that is on the opposite side of it. So they just really all go together. And with that being said, I just wanted to point out that you can use one paper pack and make elegant cards or the cute and fun, more retro cards. And that's what I decided to do with this class. Now, besides getting the stamp set and the paper, you're also going to get a chalk marker. This is helpful when you want to write on cards that have a darker background, and we will be using that in this class. You'll also get the 21 to 23 in color jewels and the coordinating variety cardstock. Now this cardstock features the 5 in colors, and you'll get 4 of each of the 5 colors for a total of 20 pieces of cardstock. And then I will cut all these make and takes for you, and then you'll also get a PDF emailed to you. Again, the deadline is February 22nd, so I will put the link in my description, and that's where you can sign up if you would like to. Let's move on to our project today. This is a sweet little fun card. You know, sometimes we just need a little card to tuck in with a gift, and so we're going to make a smaller card today. And what I did was I just took a 6-inch by 3-inch piece of pale papaya cardstock, and this is folded in half on actually scored on the long side at 3 inches, and then you'll just score it there and then fold on the score line. I pre-folded this, but use your bone folder. It'll help make a really nice crisp edge there. And we'll set that aside. And the next thing we are going to do is build that record player, or actually the record. And so you'll just need basic black cardstock. Grab just a sheet of paper to set under here. And then we are going to take our record image and we will ink it up with Versamark. I don't always use the real name for things. This is kind of funny, but the way I describe Versamark is I call it's more goopy than the other inks that we have. And the reason we need goopy ink is so that embossing powder can stick to it. So just stamp this in the middle, and Versamark is actually clear ink. So we are just going to ink that up, and then we'll take my basic black embossing powder and just sprinkle that on the top like that. Just make sure you get all the edges. Okay. You can see I did one side already, but I wanted to show you how to do that. All right, so That's what it looks like. And now I'm going to slip over in my room to where my embossing or my heat tool is, and I'm going to emboss this, and I will be right back. While I was over there, I did die cut my circle, and this is about a 2.5-inch circle. And so just make sure that you get that die cut. Then the next thing we're going to do is grab a piece of basic black cardstock again, and let me share with you the dimensions on this. It is 2 7/8 by 2 7/8, and what we're going to do with this piece is just layer this on top of the card front. And I know a lot of people use 1/4 inch borders. For me, I like it a tighter fit, so I usually do 1/8 of an inch border. I don't know why I prefer that. So it's going to be a really tight fit. If you want 1/4 inch, just cut a little bit smaller. But again, that's 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. Then the next layer, I took the Designer Series paper, and I'll kind of show you. This is a little bigger piece of paper, but this was a landscape. And then on the other side, it's just, again, our pale papaya, and it's just really kind of watercolory and muted and different shades. So that's why I chose this side. And this is going to be 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And we're just going to do the same thing with this and adhere this to our card front. Again, it's going to be that tight 1/8 inch border. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is we are going to adhere the record to the card front, and we are going to use dimensionals for that. 3 is probably enough, and we're just going to center that right in the middle here. It really doesn't matter where the heart goes because we're going to cover that up. You don't have to make sure it's straight, but of course, I don't know. I just automatically put it straight. You could, if you want to, just add a jewel or something, but I want to doctor this up a little bit more. So what I did was I took the smallest die in the layering circles die that there is. This is, I think, about a 1 or 1 1/8 inch. Yeah, just the smallest one. And then we're going to add 1 dimensional to that as well. And just 1 in the center will be good. And this one uses, you can see the pale papaya in there, but it brings in a few other colors. So just put that right smack in the middle. And then the next thing we're going to do is, of course, all records have that little dot in the middle, and we are going to use our matte black dots. And I'm going to use, oh gosh, I only have 1 left of these. I need to order some more of these, but we're going to use a smaller one and put that right smack in the middle. Now, even though it looks fine like that, it just needs a little bit of something. So I'm going to add a little bit of a sentiment on the outside. So what I'm going to do now is just take a scrap piece of basic white paper, and I'll use pale papaya. This is going to be kind of a matchy card, and I want to use the sentiment, you're awesome. And when you stamp this, you don't have to make sure it's going straight because we're going to cut this thing apart. And this is something that does not have to be exact. We are just going to fussy cut this, and we're going to make it as straight as we can. So just grab your paper snips and trim it a little bit smaller. And like I said, there is no need to be perfect in this. It's kind of a retro fun card, and there is no need for perfection. Sometimes if you use something pre-cut, it's really hard to get the red rubber in the middle because you can't really see exactly where it's going. Where photopolymer, you can. So a lot of times I'll do just fussy cut it and make it a little more whimsical and random. And that way it kind of covers up flaws if you have them. It's not really a flaw. It kind of reminds me of ransom notes. You know, those aren't perfect. So we're just going to make this into 2 words. And then we are going to, I think I'm just going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue for this. And I'm actually going to put the word awesome on first because I want to, it's more important at this point that I place this in the right place. So I want partly on, partly off. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the left side and nothing on the right. And just kind of line that up. And you could make this whimsical if you wanted to. I'm going to make it straight, but if you want to do a little bit of cockeyed, that's fine. And now we'll put the word your on there on the top, and then we're even going to have some fun in the middle too, on the inside of the card. So you're awesome. And the beauty of liquid glue is you can keep tweaking it as you go and make it more straight or Whoops. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to set this aside while it dries, and let's build the inside now. This is really fun. I just took basic white again, and this is going to be 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Now I want to show you a little trick. The stamp that I want to use for the record is too large for this piece of paper. So what I'm going to do is take my Pale Papaya ink, and I'm just going to ink up for the and it's okay if it gets a little bit on the R, and I'll show you what we'll do. Figure out where the middle is and where you want to stamp, and then you're going to just place this Post-it note where the R would go. So kind of line up the middle and then place this down so the R does not show, and then you can just stamp it. Now we're going to do the exact same thing. And by the way, when you do these two words and then the word record, they're about the same width. So you can kind of guess. What I mean by that is I'll put the Post-it note right there because I know that it's about the same width. Now we're just going to ink up the word record, and we're going to do this again, and then just center it underneath the words for the, and there you have it, for the record. And I really wanted to use that sentiment because it goes so well with this card. All right, now we're not done with that yet. First, we're going to put a second sentiment underneath, and I am going to choose the one that says, "You're my favorite song," to go with the record. And we're just going to use Memento Black for this one, and we'll go right beneath it. So it says, "For the record, you're my favorite song." Now, we're not quite done with this. I couldn't quit here. I had to do one more little creative thing for the top part of the sentiment, for the record. We are going to take 2 1/4 inch circles. So you need to dig in your stash for your paper punch, probably from grade school. Everybody has one of these in their stash, even though Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell them anymore. But it's just a 1/4 inch Office Max paper punch. And I just punched 2 of those out of basic black, and then just put 2 little dabs of multi-purpose liquid glue on the O's, and take a pick tool and pick that up and just put it right on top of the O. Can you tell why I am doing this? I love to coordinate things, and so this is going to be a teeny tiny Barbie size record, and the only thing we're missing here is that little center dot. Now, like I said, you could use the jewel that comes with the class that I'm doing, or that comes as part of the product for the class, or I'm just going to use a piece of cardstock. Now, see if you can make a teeny tiny dot that is hardly has anything on it, because if you use too much, it's going to be kind of messy. And then use your pick tool again, and I already pre-punched these. These are like 1/32 of an inch or smaller. They're probably smaller. And once you put it on there, you can move it around with the other end. And I did get a little bit of extra glue here, but luckily our glue dries clear and I can just wipe it off after it dries. Do the same thing with the other record. Just put that little tiny pin dot on there. Like that. And like I said, you can move it around with the other end. Whoops, you know what? There's like a piece of paper or something on there. Let me get that off. Okay, there we go. So now for the record, looks like it has little records in for the O. Isn't that fun? All right, then just flip the whole thing over and add your Stampin' Still. There's our one that wasn't quite as good as the front one. And just stick that inside. And you'll have to let me know what your first record was that you bought. I always ask that question when I work on this card. I think I told you maybe in a previous video, mine was, my first 45 was Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, and my first album, oh, it was Donny Osmond, Puppy Love. That was my first album. All right, one more thing for this card before we end is we have these sweet little envelopes that will work perfect for this on page 136. They're basic white 3x3 envelopes, and you get 40 envelopes for only $10. That is a bargain. They're so cute, and I'm going to show you an easy way to put the Designer Series paper on the back. So what you'll need is 3 1/4 by 1.5 inch piece of Designer Series paper, and rather than trace this on here and cut it out, I can never get it exact. So all you have to do is add your adhesive to the flap of the envelope, and then just stick that paper on like this, and it'll pick up where it needs to. And just make sure it's straight. All right, then we're just gonna take our paper snips and then just follow the envelope line and it will fit just perfect. There's no guessing and hoping you trace in the right area, and it just works really well. I always love it when you can kind of coordinate your envelopes with your card that you made. Sometimes you know how we stamp a little something in the corner. In fact, I could easily do that. I could just take, let me do that. Let me clean off my stamp, and I'm going to add one more little thing. This is my Simply Chamois, and I always say I wish these were black instead of purple because they're such a pretty purple, but once you start cleaning them, this is what happens. So it would just be easier if it was black, but they didn't ask me what color I wanted the Simply Chamois. All right, so make sure you have paper underneath or you'll get your nice little background dirty. And I'm gonna use Pale Papaya again, and this will just tie it in even more. So I'm just gonna stamp a portion of this, and you know what, I may even stamp off to make it one shade lighter, and then just go right on the corner like that. And then you can write on top of that. All right, there we have our finished product. Let me get rid of this, and there it is. So just small and sweet and fast. So I hope you enjoyed that. And if there's any products that you are interested in, please use my host code up here. That helps me a lot. If your order is over $35, you will receive 3 free project kits in the mail and a PDF that will be emailed to you as my way of saying thank you. And then also I will post my For the Record class to go in case you're interested. Thank you so much for joining me, and be sure and sign up for my newsletter. You can email me at lorriheiling@gmail.com. My name is spelled LORRIHEILING@gmail.com. Or if you just head to my blog and hover there for a little bit, there'll be a pop-up and you can sign up for my newsletter. And I give free PDFs on my newsletter and give you lots of fun information. So thank you again for joining me, and we will see you next week. I'm here on Tuesday and Friday mornings. Bye-bye.